SFC Fans React back with another video. I hope you're all well. Michael, this is the second video in a week.
I know, this feels quite... Well, technically, from across my channel and yours, or on this one, 3, because you got jumped on my stream on Sunday.
That's right.
So we've spoken 3 times in a week. So we've gone from not meeting very regularly to now suddenly meeting 3 times in 8 days, which is good.
Obviously, we're going to go through a few topics. The new away strip, I didn't mention last time. Apologies to my editor, Josh, who is the editor now. He's brilliant. He's worked. You can see he's worked great. He said he didn't mention the away strip, which was right. But we'll mention that. We'll talk about a few things, and I think Sunderland. Michael, first of all, well, hit the like button. You know,
yeah, subscribe. Subscribe to this.
Subscribe if you're new. It's absolutely free, doesn't cost a penny. So please subscribe.
Yeah. Thanks to everyone who helped get us to 6K. That was really appreciated. Let's see if we can get this one to 6K next.
Last time we'll talk through a lot of things. Well, today we're going to talk. First of all, Michael, the away strip. I mean, it was released last week. And you see in the queues, just because we're just in the Hilton, by the way, if you're wondering where we are, we're in the Hilton Hotel, which is where we do our videos now. But the away strip, it's out. My first opinions of it, I think it looks brilliant. And obviously we're seeing the queues are massive that day went down. I'm pretty sure they sold out, Michael, within about an hour and online as well. But what's your thoughts of the away strip, Michael?
It's one of them at first glance that it takes me a while to get used to different kits and everything. But when I've seen a couple of people wear it in person, I'm like, that looks lovely. I think the blue goes with the red and white collar, the retro badge on it. I'm personally someone who much prefers our current badge to our retro one, but that's because that's all I've known. But the retro badge on it, it looks banging. Puts people off is the WA8.
The sponsor thing. The sponsor's never going to be.
No, it's never going to be popular. But Villa had that sponsor when they first went up to the Prem and stayed up. Just saying.
I think it's a nice away strip. I think I'll do really well. I mean, I liked the one last season. The white one was brilliant. I thought the home was brilliant. I think Hummel really. They've
knocked it out of the park, haven't they?
Absolutely. And I didn't get this thing about people used to go on about the Hummel and I just think, why is people getting excited about these Hummel thing? But they've produced already three really good strips. Well, the grey one as well of last season. I mean, did you like that one? I wasn't really a fan, to be fair. But
which one's this one?
The grey one, the third strip off last season.
Which one was
the third?
Oh, do you mean the Wetherspoons plate one?
That's what it's. That's a good comparison, isn't it?
No, I think with Hummel that one of the best things the club could have done was go back to Hummel, because how many times over the last couple of years, even when things were going all right on the pitch, were we saying off the pitch is a shambles? The night kits are basically just normal sports shirts with just Sunderland sticker plastered on them, and I'm like, that to me looks so unprofessional. As far as this away shirt's concerned, the away kit's really nice, and hopefully by the time this goes out, we'll actually see some at least solid information on when the home kit is released.
The 2 new signs, Michael.
One of which at the time of speaking was announced about an hour ago. Obviously Talbi's the Club Brugge winger. Like I said, with most of our signings, and we've said this last week, I've not watched much of any of them play. I don't know how they're going to adapt to the Prem. I don't know what their level of talent is. But again, the common theme from what I've seen from all of our signings is that they are very highly rated by non-Sunderland fans. So that gives me a lot of encouragement. Now with Talbi specifically, one of the comments, and I think I might have said this to you off air, but I'll say it anyway. One of the lads called Carl, who has his own channel, who's a Leeds fan that I do championship review stuff with last season. Sean interviewed him after the Sheffield United home game on New Year's Day. Really sound guy, cracking lad. I'm meeting him for the Hearts game actually in a couple of weeks. But Carl was telling me he felt that Liverpool should have gone for Talbi.
Really?
Now I'm thinking, if he's saying Liverpool should go in for Talbi, and he's come to Sunderland.
Big statement,
and he was saying he think that's a really good signing for Sunderland. So I'm thinking, and this is a Leeds fan, obviously someone who we're going to be battling against to try and them Burnley and someone else hopefully to get relegated. But that gives me quite a lot of encouragement. And one of the things I love about it, and especially when you consider PSR and how many times I've mentioned that those 3 letters over the last couple of weeks is mental, but. The same with Adingra, as we'll come on to him. But you look at Diarra, 5-year contract. Siddiqui, 5-year contract. Talbi, 5-year contract. Adingra, 5-year contract. Obviously, Reynaldo was the Atletico Madrid left back's 2 years. But obviously he's 31. That's fair enough. But with him brings a lot of experience. And then you had, obviously Lafay was 4-year contract, but I'd imagine the length of contract in the obligation to loan to obligation to buy deal, that was probably negotiated in January, so not much would have changed there. But with Talbi in particular, I think it's an example of like the same with Diarra or Siddiqui, that if you have them on a 5-year deal and say they perform superbly in the first season, even if you got 2 class seasons out of them, in 2 years' time they've still got 3 years left. And if someone comes in for them, you've still got long enough to command a really good fee. It's like with Joe Bellingham, when last summer we gave him a new contract, like a new 4-year one, that ran till 2028, and because of that, we were able to get nearly £30 million for.
Yeah.
What do you think about him, Talbi?
I've seen.
Once I've stopped rambling.
I've seen the clips, Michael. Again, it's obviously. Was he the right winger? Is he the right winger, or was he the left? Because
he can play both sides, but I think he played on the right. I think he played on the left.
I thought seeing him play on the left and cutting in on a few of the clips I've seen on YouTube. So he was on the left, but he's right-footed, cutting in and scoring on the right. But then I've seen him on the right, so he can predominantly play two positions, can't he? Left or right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what I've seen and what I've heard.
He was in the Champions League last year, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was in Champions League with Club Brugge. Yeah. What I've seen and what I've heard, he looks a decent player. But all these players that we're signing, you said, well, we haven't really heard a lot about them. But we didn't really hear a lot about Mundell, we didn't hear a lot about Clark, we didn't hear a lot about Cirkin, about Bellingham in a sense, I know his brother, but all these signs,
right.
You've got to wish that the Speakman and Sophie and
Stuart
Harvey, they've obviously done their research and they've looked at all these players. They always seem to, I don't know what you think, but always seem to, it's always doing things for the future. So that in the Championship they were planning for the Premier League, now that in the Premier League they're planning on that next step.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what I'm hoping anyway.
That's what you think, but I think they also have a habit of pulling deals out of the hat that people don't expect. Just as a comparison, I know this was like way back at the start of this regime, and it's a lifetime away to think about now. But if you remember the last League One season, the year we got promoted, when Alex Neil came in, got promoted, and we obviously had Lee Johnson, Sean's favourite head coach ever. I'm never going to not let that be a joke. But
I got him sacked, though, mate, remember?
Well, you should deserve credit for getting promoted then, because we got Alex Neil and we got promoted. And then obviously we got money for the Bull Snake. But in League One, you had Alex Pritchard, Corey Evans, Danny Barr, Jack Clark, Patrick Roberts. We signed all 5 of those players, I believe, within that 12 months, within that one season. And they're all players that at the time probably were above League One level. Point is, they've got a habit of pulling those deals out of the hat. They signed Ahmad in the Championship, they signed Lafay in the Championship. It's really encouraging stuff to see. About Talbi, I heard someone describe him, someone like senior high up, someone within the game anyway, describe him as one of the best talents in Belgium. I don't have a frame of reference to what the normal talent standard in Belgium is, but I'd like to think if he's been playing in the Champions League,
then he's
you'd like to hope. And I know that obviously you can take that with a pinch of salt because Celtic are in the Champions League, for example. But like, you have to have something about you if you're going to be in the Champions League. The League Earn was more physical than the Championship. And what's Premier League? Athletic, pace, physicality.
Definitely,
So if Talbi's good, and from what clips people have showed me, he looks rapid, he looks really quick. One of the things that's good with these players and these signings is that the way we're going to play, quick transition, bang bang, go down the wings and attack with pace on the counter. And I think that's where it's going to be really important to the way we play to have our chances of surviving, or potentially surviving. Hopefully we do, but. Yeah, with Talbi, I mean, again, don't know much about him, but he comes very, very highly rated, and I'm looking forward to seeing him play.
Yeah, but Fabrizio Romano, he's been on the money, hasn't he? Every time there's a sign, he gets there first.
Pretty much.
Fabrizio Romano, here we go.
This was
a little bit of a surprise because I know
it came out of nowhere.
It did in a sense. Because the Newcastle fans were following an aeroplane, and they were convinced that Mark Gee was on that plane. Yeah, but it wasn't Mark Gee. It was.
Didn't they think it was Anthony Elanga at first? Who they're getting from Forest. But then obviously Keith responded to one of them who said, "It's Simon Adingra, mate. Don't believe rumours." And look, to be fair, that's just one private jet. There will be Newcastle. Unfortunately, as much as it pains me to say it, we're shopping in a completely different market in Newcastle. So
the club have come out and have spent another 20+ million on another winger. Now this guy, I'm saying about the same as what's his name again? These are the names I'm trying to.
Talbi,
aye. I'm trying to think of digest these names. We've got Diarra,
we'll get used
Diarra, we've got Sigiki, we've got Mandeva, Simon Adingra.
This statement has all the names.
He's from Brighton. Is he 21 or 23?
23.
23.
5-year contract.
Yeah, 5-year contract again. And it's got add-ons, but again, I've seen a few clips. I've heard some good things, and I've heard some
not so good things.
Not so good things, but he's all right. He's nothing special. But I seen him a clip a day where he cut in from the left, and he scored a good goal. I think it might have been against Sheffield United. Not the season, but the season
I heard
before.
about that. Yeah.
Yeah, and it looked good. Right, and he scored one where Cross come over and he volleyed it with the right foot. But he predominantly is a right footer. But he could be another one where we sign these 2 wingers. And they could turn out to be really good players. But
Adingra might have to go away to sort of forge his not forge his own image, but sort of go somewhere where he's going to be the main man. He's going to be playing a lot more. He's going to have that exposure a lot more regularly. But you got to remember, I think he got something like 60 appearances in the last 2 seasons in the Premier League. And although you're not going to have as many, his goals and assist stats aren't exactly great. You got to remember that different teams have different systems and different styles. Also, at the same time, how many of them were sub appearances? That's the thing you got to bear in mind. But the fee, I believe, from what Keith Downey said, it was something like 18 million up front with a 2.5 million in add-ons. So you're talking roughly 20 million quid here. Now, obviously, this is the thing. He had a year left on his contract at Brighton just before we went in for him. I had heard whispers that we were going for Adingra before it broke.
I've never heard. I didn't hear anything.
Well, I got
that,
message privately by someone who apparently has contacts at the club.
In the north, or maybe.
Well, supposedly in the north. I mean, no, nothing against that particular person, but obviously, like anyone, I've seen a lot of in the know stuff that's turned out to be complete rubbish. So we'll wait and see. But this wasn't. This is the one that excites me the most that we've made so far.
Adingra, yeah.
Yeah, because I think he doesn't have to have long to bed into the Prem. He's already got that exposure. He's already got that experience.
That's a very good point.
From what I've said, from the limit, and again, obviously we know anyone can look good on YouTube compilations. As I said last week, Mason Burstow, I could probably make him look class on social media, on YouTube clips. I could probably make Will Grigg look mint. But from what I have seen of him, again, like Talbi, lightning fast, pacey, bit of athleticism about him. And again, like I said with Talbi, you know, when we're going to be playing on the quick transition and how we're going to set up in games, I think that's going to be, when we do have we're not going to have as much of the ball as what we'd like. So when we do have it, we need to be effective with it. You're saying roughly 20 for Lafay. Diarra, which was 30, so that's 50. 17 for Siddiqui, which is 67. Then Shemsdeen Talbi, which I believe was something like 20. So that's 87. And then plus Adingra, which is 107 million.
PSR.
Right. This is how I understand PSR to work. The way PSR works, because I've seen a lot of grumblings about PSR, I've seen a lot of the misconceptions, and I wanted to try and get to the bottom of understanding how PSR works and understanding the context around it. And there's Leeds fans in particular who I think have been asking, how are Sunderland spending all this money? When you're receiving a fee for a player, on that financial year accounts, you get all of it goes onto that financial year. If you're buying a player, you're spreading the cost of the fee over the length of the player's contract. So let's say Adingra, for example. We've got him on a 5-year contract, so let's include the add-ons for a second and say it's 20 million. That means you pay £4 million a year to Brighton for Adingra's contract. So that means that this PSR year, 2025-26, the year we're currently in financially, that means only 5 million of that, 4 million of that, goes towards Adingra's fee, because it's a 5-year contract, and 5 divided by 4 is, and 20 divided by 5 is 4. So that, or 4 times 5 is 20, whatever way you want to look at it. I'm not going to be giving maths lessons. but either way, so say you're paying £4 million this financial year for Adingra, and then say Siddiqui, you're paying, let's say it's 17 million, you're paying roughly 3.5 million for this year towards Siddiqui. Habib Diarra, including add-ons, that's roughly 30 million quid. So you're paying £6 million for this year towards Habib Diarra. And then there was another one. And then Talbi as well, again, £20 million over a 5-year contract, I believe. It was roughly 20 million, might be a bit more. That might be out slightly. But that would also be £4 million going on to this year's PSR.
Okay,
Whereas the fee for Joe Bellingham, for example, because he was registered for the Club World Cup for Dortmund, the last financial year, I think it either ended on the 30th of June or the 31st of July, but I think it's the 30th of June. Again, if that's wrong, please someone correct me, or respectfully correct me anyway. But the point is, if it ended on June the 30th, that means all of the money from Job's sale goes on to 2024-25, which covers the year we got promoted to the Premier League, which covers last season. So that means, and with PSR, when you're in the Championship and you had the last 3 years in the EFL, you're allowed to lose, I think it's up to £39 million over the space of over the last rolling 3-year period. So let's use the 3 Championship years as a case study for this. So in 2022-23, and I think we did this, I think we covered this after Chef Wed beat us at the Stadium of Light, when we basically talked up Danny Roll, really. But that day, Sean had us go over the accounts for the 2020, the Tony Mowbray playoff year. So that year, I believe we lost, I think it was 9 million, something like that. We lost 9 million that year. 2023-24, which was the Mowbray, Michael Beale, Mike Dodds year. Oh, God, that's PTSD. Anyway, right, but that year, we lost, I think it was £8 million. So that's losing 7 million. Now, at the time of speaking, I don't know what the accounts for 24-25 are. We probably won't find that out till next April or next March, or we won't find it out till next year one way or another, unless we release it super early, which we probably won't. I don't know what we would have lost that year, but let's go hypothetical for a second. Let's say we lost £10 million in 24-25. So you're going 9 million, then 8 million, then 10 million, which is £27 million. Bear in mind, in 24-25, we would have sold Jack Clark in that time. We would have sold Joe Bellingham, Ross Stewart in 23-24. But with him being, with that money added onto it, we still lost 8 million, I think.
That's right, yeah.
And I imagine sacking Mowbray and Beale probably had a contribution towards that.
Yeah.
But either way, the point is, in 24-25, we'd have sold Clark and we'd have sold Bellingham. I'll not include Tommy Watson for the minute because I don't know if that goes on 25-26, the 10 million we get from Brighton. So let's just say for a second it's only Clark and Bellingham. So that means you get a minimum of 15 million for Clark plus add-ons, but Spurs get a quarter of that. So we get just over 11 million for Clark at a bare minimum. And then Joe Bellingham, because we got just under £28 million up front for him, Birmingham got 15% of it. So that means it's roughly 23.5 million. So let's say it's just under 35 million, let's say we got for Clark and Job. That would not only cover the losses of the last 3 years, but in the last 3 rolling years, it would put us at a profit. So this means that this now, I think because we've gone up to the Premier League, and again, I might be wrong on this, but I think because we're in the Prem now, we can lose up to £75 million. Now, bear in mind again, when we're spending the money that we have done on these players, when we can lose 75 million quid. So you spent, let's say, 6 on Diarra, 3.5 on Siddiqui, so let's say 10 for those two. Then you've got another £4 million, I believe, for Talbi, so that's 14.
That's spreading the cost with the fees for the players.
Over each player's contract,
People wondering what
that's fine, yeah. So again, you spread Diarra's fee over 5 years, that's 5 million quid Sorry, Ian? Losing track. Right, so it was £30 million over 5 years. That's £6 million a year. Then Siddiqui was 17 million. So let's say £3.5 million. That's 9.5 million. Lefay was over a 4-year deal, so that's 5 million each year. So that's 14.5, I think it is.
Roughly 15.
Then it would be Talbi over 5 years. That's another 4 million. So that's 18.5. And then Adingra, yet again, over 5 years for 20 million. That's roughly £4 million. So you're talking we've lost this financial year. We're currently spending between 20-25 million.
Because the cost of players is getting spread over the cost of 4 to 5 years.
It doesn't go out of the accounts all in one go.
It goes. If people think, we spent 110 million, we haven't.
Eventually we will, but right now, this year, we haven't. No.
But it's over the course of 5 years, and you've narrowed it down now. But that's rough estimates as well.
So this means that I think Kieran Maguire mentioned you could lose up to, I think it was like 60 million or 75 million, depending on player sales and stuff. So this is where the sales of Clark and Stewart and Job and everything else, as gutting as they were at the time, they're essential to the world of PSR for you to be able to have more financial scope to invest. So with that, in theory, we could go out and probably spend another, say 100 million, for example, but over another
cost.
You can even afford to spend maybe another 150 really, because if you sign every player you signs on a 5-year contract, you could afford to spend probably another. I'm going to get this right. So say it was 25 million we spent on PSR, and you could lose say 60. You've probably got enough scope to sign another 7 players over the course of say another 25 million pounds.
So might just narrow it down to the PSR. That's the sort of rules, and it just sort of.
I've tried to anyway.
Yeah, just trying to put it in.
I'm trying
another
to put
way. When somebody buys a car, they spread the cost over 5 years. You wouldn't just go and pay. Well, unless you're
unless you can afford to do it. Yeah.
You would spread over 5 years normally. You know what I mean? Whatever you pay. So he's just trying to explain the PSR rulings there.
That's pretty much it. That's how I understand it. So if anyone knows different to me and knows that that's not accurate to how PSR finances work, then feel free to tell me in the comments. But I think that's how it works.
Petrovic, the goalkeeper, was reported by a couple of journalists, actually quite a few, which got me really excited about this because I'd watched a lot of videos on Petrovic and he is a real top keeper. I watched a video on Twitter or YouTube, and it was 6 minutes of absolute unreal saves. And that, again, that just shows you the best bits of that player and doesn't show you the bad bits. But I've spoke to a lot of people, and I've actually spoke to a couple of Chelsea fans, and them say he's actually the best keeper. He should be the number one. And I'm thinking, well, why do you want to sell your best keeper? And that's basically down to, again, it's the Champions League run for Chelsea this season. Chelsea have got to.
They've got to raise some money, haven't
They've got to
they?
raise 60 million in player sales, so they've got to get a move on in that aspect. And this is the reason why they've got to sell Petrovic. And unfortunately for us, it got me really excited this signing because I think the goalkeeper could be huge for us this season.
I think
he's
so.
going to be busy at times. He's going to be very busy.
Yeah.
So, and I thought this Petrovic, that was of all the signings, this was the one for me. What got us really, and I picked to say, Shawnee. Getting excited over the keeper. I really was excited about this keeper, and with the
in the Premier, good keeper's vital.
Absolutely, with the bulk seal,
Bulker, yeah.
Him choosing Saudi money, unfortunately, which was probably slipped on there. He looked good as well. This Petrovic, I was really wanting to get us to get over the line, and I'm a bit devastated because
they're going to go, AFC Bournemouth say hold my beer. And I suppose, and look, don't get me wrong, and I mean this with all due respect to Bournemouth, it is depressing that obviously Bournemouth are beating us to players, but the financial landscape is that they've been established in the last few years in the Prem, and that's good on them for it. They've been ran competently for it. This is what we need to get to, hopefully. So basically, long story short, it looked like there was for a while we could get Petrovic, but he's going to Bournemouth.
I think he's going to Bournemouth. It's looking like he's going to go to Bournemouth. I am gutted about that, which we've just mentioned there. Lafayette, a lot of midfielders. What worries me is we've signed a left back, which I think they've looked at it and think certain's not going to be good enough. Which I agree. I'm not sure on certain with his injuries as well. So Mandeva will probably come in.
Yeah.
I think we need a goalkeeper. We've agreed there. We need a goalkeeper. We need two centre backs.
Yep.
We definitely need two centre backs because I think Ballard again could be injury. He could be injury prone if there's a lot of games.
Exactly. And let's be honest, we probably want 09 as fourth choice, really.
And I love Luke 09. If he walked in this building now, I'll even see it to him because he's just did.
Luke, I don't think you're good enough for the Prem, but I also love you. But if you're going to play in the Prem, don't play WWE in the box, please. That'd be
exactly because VR did do us good in the playoff final.
Yes, but there's obviously going to be occasions where
we might need it a lot. And if Luke 09's pulling people's shirts or he's doing this and that, he's
like
going to be thinking. What I was trying to get there was
it's fine.
We're signing a lot of midfielders. We're signing 3, and we're signing a couple of wingers. We're signing 1 defender. I'm not sure Trey Hume's going to be good enough in the Premier League, and I know you think he might. 2 centre half. We definitely need 2 centre half. We need a goalkeeper. And then we need a striker. What's happening there, Michael?
So, the thing I've noticed since we've gone into the Premier League, that a lot of the reports that have been linking us with players are, excuse my language, bollocks. A lot of them are just total nonsense. Yeah. But the right back in question that I was thinking of was Kyle Walker-Peters. Now, the caveat is he's just been part of the Southampton team that's got relegated comfortably. But having said that, when I suggested it on Twitter actually about Kyle Walker-Peters, and more people than not said, yeah, I'd have him.
I think he's better than Trey Hume, Michael.
That's fair enough.
The way you look at that, I think if he's a step up from Trey Hume, so it's an improvement. But I'm still not. Can we get somebody better?
Well, this is what I mean. So this is where again PSR is vital to come into it though, because say for example, even if you told Dan Neil, for instance, I don't really want Dan Neil to leave, but let's say Dan Neil does get sold because he's in the last year of his contract. Same with Sirkin actually. Yeah. So if these guys aren't going to sign deals, there comes a point.
Try and get some money for them.
There comes a point where we will have to then face the facts of selling them because we want to get
nothing going to go for
exactly. So. If the better our PSR situation is, the better our signings can be. Right back, I think it'll be a free agent. I think we will sign 1 centre half ready to go for now, and 1 that's good, decent now, but will go to really good in the future.
Yeah,
that's what I think we'll do because we're not gonna abandon the way we do things now. But we're just obviously the difference is we're doing it to getting players to a much better level. Yeah. So the strategy's still the same. So for example, instead of getting a 21-year-old who starts here that can go to here, we're getting a 21-year-old, for example, who starts here and can go to here. Yeah. That's sort of the difference, really. Ideally, I would like someone better than Pato because, look, I've said before, if you can guarantee me Pato playing exactly the same way as he did in the playoff final every week, I'd have no problem. The issue is he doesn't. That's the problem. Yeah. He's often, and don't get me wrong, for balance, I don't think Pato is as bad as some fans act like he is. I think, but for me, I view Pato as a playoff championship standard goalkeeper.
Just not quite that
Premiership
quality.
Now, the links today, there was 2 more goalkeepers' names that were mentioned once Petrovic got to Bournemouth, and neither of them fill us with much hope. I'm not gonna lie, but bear in mind the guy who said this was on TalkSport, so just bear that in mind. But the two that were mentioned were Sam Johnson and Aaron Ramsdale. Yeah. Now, Sam Johnston for me, it depends. If he was coming in as a number 2, I wouldn't be against it. As a number 2, as a number 1, no.
No.
As an Aaron Ramsdale's concerned, I can't get over the fact the last 2 times he's played regularly, he's got relegated. Now, the issue is with Ramsdale is that apparently because Southampton, and maybe Ramsdale was exposed because of this, Southampton's philosophy was insistent on passing out from the back when they don't have players good enough to do it. Sunderland, I'd be very surprised if Sunderland tried to do that. The only team I could see us attempting that is maybe Burnley. That's the only one I could see us maybe getting, and even if we tried to get away with it.
I mean, we know the situation ahead. If we get a good goalkeeper, he's going to
be busy, isn't he?
He's going to
earn his wages, isn't he?
Yeah, it could be one of the key players, and I firmly believe if we got Petrovic, I would have been convinced we would have stayed just with him alone, without any more signs.
But to be fair,
I think we would have stayed up with.
But to be fair, though, I do also think that it wouldn't surprise me if we pull a really good goalkeeper out the hat from abroad that we don't know about. That's the sort of thing that we have done. If you notice, for example, Siddiqui was not announced, wasn't leaked really until 2 days before it was announced.
Yeah.
The same with Adingra. It was revealed yesterday at the time of recording, because we're doing it on Thursday evening, this video, and then it's announced a day later. So I wouldn't be surprised if something like that happens with someone from abroad. If we're having to go for someone from, say, the Championship, my shout would be Michael Cooper from Sheffield United.
Mine would be, I said the other day, the Stoke goalkeeper,
Victor Johansson, he wouldn't be a bad shout either. But personally, I'd like better. I'd like to go for someone who's like a really top-end standard.
No, he's good.
Well, maybe not top-end Prem, because we're not going to get that standard, but I mean like a comfortable mid-table Prem goalkeeper. That's someone I would like. Now, maybe Michael Cooper or Victor Johansson, for all we know, could be that. They just haven't had the chance to express it, but I think it'll be someone from abroad.
We could get a goalkeeper we've never heard of, and he could end up being absolutely unreal.
Yeah.
Could be the next. We'll get excited here, but next Jean-Louis Buffon or Donnarumma.
Yeah.
That'd be nice. That'd be nice.
Well, apparently we want a lot of our business done before we go to Portugal as well. So that in theory gives us a week's timeline. Obviously, we're not going to get all of our players before then, but like there will be some we get afterwards. But you got to remember as well, there's the loan market as well. We could end up getting a really good...
We'll utilise that,
we need to, I think. And then striker's the big one. Now, obviously, it was Mikatadze from Lyon. But obviously, what's complicated that is that now Lyon somehow have avoided relegation to League 2. So the second French division are now in Ligue 1 next season. So that all of a sudden means they hold more cards in terms of being able to ask for better money. This is the problem, isn't it? So I personally wouldn't, and maybe people might be chucking their food or drinks at the screen at this, but I wouldn't be against going for someone like a Danny Welbeck or a Jamie Vardy. If you're really wanting to save money for like a top-end goalkeeper and a class centre-back, then I wouldn't be against going for a Welbeck or a Vardy.
Danny Welbeck wouldn't be. He's got massive experience in the Premier League. I mean, Vardy possibly as a rotation player, but get Danny Welbeck in as a rotation. I still think you would need somebody who was.
I also think someone like a Welbeck or a Vardy for someone like Mayenda to learn off, I think would actually be really good from that perspective. But it could be getting another 2 strikers. You got it's the balancing argument between Mayenda and Isidore deserve their chance versus you want to have the best quality to try and stay up. It's a really fine line to try and do, because on the one hand, yes, a lot of these players have earned their chance, but the simple, brutal reality is not a lot of them are going to be making the step up, unfortunately.
I mean, you've got to be ruthless, and I still think. I mean, I think Isidore, he has his moments, but not a starter, just a rotation player the next season. I just think Mayenda, he showed massive. Last season he showed what he can do. Some of the goals he scored, and I think maybe he could get a chance, but I still think you're going to need.
You don't want to put all the pressure on him, do you?
You need a number 1 striker, somebody who's either a lot better than him, who's done it in other leagues, or somebody who's
coming from abroad, but just a better level. So I think if we'd still been in the Championship, I'd have no problem with Isidore Mayenda being our main strikers up front. But either way, look, again, it's a fine balance. We are definitely going to need a squad, and I think if you had Isidore Mayenda on the bench, for example,
that's all right. That's all right.
And I think Mayenda in particular, I think has got the attributes to help us transition to Premier League football.
Definitely.
But it's obviously not fair on him to
put all the pressure on him.
To throw him in. I mean, I know obviously he's come through a lot. He's come through a lot in the last year, of course he has. But the Prem's a different level, though, and you're not going to get anywhere near the amount of chances that what we would have done in the Championship. So But look.
It was reported, Michael, that Jordan Henderson, well, it's been confirmed that he's leaving Ajax. He's a free agent now. There was a lot of rumours last night, which got me a little bit excited because I would love to see him come back simply for the fact that he's a local lad. He's won everything in the game. Yes, he's 35 or 36, but the experience he could bring to those group of players, especially the younger guys, I think would be absolutely huge.
It'd be huge,
huge
in that
dressing room.
Yeah, I mean, well, if you're reading reports from, say, the Northern Echo or the Sunderland Echo, they look like a deal's very unlikely. Same with Keith Downey for Jordan Henderson, which, if that's true, I'm quite gutted about. And I don't think it's just sentiment with Henderson either. I think you got to remember, this guy has won the Premier League, he's won the League Cup, the FA Cup, Champions League, he's won the Club World Cup. Did Liverpool win the Club World Cup?
I think they might have won the Club World Cup. I
could be wrong on that, but either way, but even if they haven't,
Cup, I think they might have won the Super Cup.
But either way though, he's won pretty much everything you can win in professional football. I also feel like, from a pure footballing point of view, I think Henderson would be a really vital component in the dressing room. And look, we're not. I don't think we'd be saying Henderson starts every week, but if he did come, even if someone just to bring that experience when we're leading a game with 20 minutes to go or 10 minutes to go, something like that is so crucial. And personally, for me, I think Sunderland would be missing a massive trick if we didn't sign Henderson. Jordan Henderson is a different level. He's a completely different level in terms of experience.
Things he's done in the game.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, look, if I'm honest, I don't think we'll get Henderson if there's that many reliable outlets reporting as such. But, well, at least not right now anyway. But I think the only way we get Hendo is if probably Neil leaves. And this is where, again, it's...
Another one I'm gutted about this, Michael, because I really think that, I just forget the wage. I mean, he's on 100 grand a week. I mean, I think the fee's on something like 75, 80 grand a week.
I think Henderson for Sunderland would take enough of a wage cut to drop to like 60, 70 a week.
There's no reason why if we're getting him for free, we're getting him for free transfer.
And let's be honest, does he need the money at this point?
No, definitely not. He's a multi-millionaire.
I mean, obviously, look, he's not going to come here for 10 grand a week and a pack of Freddos. He's hope Sunderland recognise the value of Premier League experience, or even if you want to say elite level top experience, which, for example, Reynaldo Mandava is someone who has got that experience. Playing Champions League, playing in La Liga, for a really ginormous club in Atletico Madrid. So stuff like that, I think, will not go amiss if we want to have a chance of surviving. And I just hope that I'm happy with what we've done so far in general, but I think I'd like 2 or 3 just professional Prem experience, Premier League hardened players, or at the very least, if it's not Premier League, top flight elite level hardened sort of players. So, but look, overall, I mean, when you look at what we've done and when you look at the money we've spent, I mean, it's got people talking. 2 things that give us hope is the recruitment team, because they pulled things out of the hat before and now they've got serious money to work with. And Gizolfi in particular apparently has been given the keys to the whole recruitment department and everything else. And this guy, you remember, although Roma didn't go very well, he's been at some very, very big clubs. So there's that one. And remember, Juventus and Newcastle wanted him. Maybe the Milan clubs might have done, I can't remember.
That was
but there's that to consider. So our recruitment team and Stuart Harvey, who's does a lot of the unsung work. There's that gives us hope. And the other one is the way Regis plays might have us better adapt to the Prem than say Daniel Farker might at Leeds. We don't know, so that gives us hope. There's we know we still need quite a bit. I think we need another half a dozen signings. But
I agree. I think we're still key areas like you see. I think we need a right back. Sorry, I don't know if you like Trey Hume.
But even if they do like Trey Hume, he needs competition, doesn't he?
Yeah, but I think honestly, watching him against Newcastle win that FA Cup, I mean, Anthony Gordon
did skin him, unfortunately. I think you've got to remember as well, and although this sounds very depressing as a Sunderland fan, it's not Newcastle we need to beat to stay up.
That's
true.
I
mean, I'd love to beat them anyway, of course. But like, it's not them we need to be competing. We need to be beating like Brentford. We need to be beating Leeds, Burnley, Wolves to a degree, West Ham to a degree. And
let's just try and up that level when we play the Mags on December the 13th, and then the March return.
I'll tell you what. How about VAR just sends Isak off, sends Gordon off, then sends Bruno off, and then we're against. And then we're against 8 men, and then we might draw 0-0. That's just that, isn't it? But look, let's wait and see. I'm obviously we know how much of a battle it's going to be, but at the same time, I'm reasonably excited to see what happens. We've earned this. This is what we wanted. We wanted to go up to the Prem. We wanted to have these conversations. Let's relish it, and hopefully we're here for longer than one season.
We went on with getting through a lot of topics there. The pre-season starts this weekend, which I think you're going to the Socials.
No, it's Gateshead. Well, at the time this has gone out, the game might have happened, but I had a ticket for Gateshead, and we were obviously going to be at Gateshead. Now we're playing now I'm watching the developmental squad play at Hebburn. So and we've spent 20 quid on a ticket. So yeah, that's a really good value for money. But hey ho, it is what it is. But yeah, no, the games are back now. People. I think I'm always happy when we won against Sheffield United at Wembley. I was ready for a break. I was ready for a bit. Now I'm kind of like, right, I want
to get back.
I'm ready to start get back in the swing of things now. So let's get some more signings. Let's get some world-class signings. Let's finish 17th this season.
And let's
and beat the Mags twice.
I'd take 17th now, but like you see,
just give us 17th.
If I can get a good keeper, I don't know what it is. I'm still thinking about Petrovic. I'm quick-cutted.
Just one last thing for the sake of balance on Pato, I'd still like a better keeper as well. But remember, we've got new goalkeeping coaches coming in.
That's true.
We've got new backroom staff coming in,
Yeah,
and this goalkeeping coach might turn Pato,
might
might
improve
get onto Pato and work on him.
Yeah.
So we'll wait and see. Long way to go yet.
But thanks for watching. Remember to subscribe. It's absolutely free. It doesn't cost a penny. Me and Michael will be back again, hopefully within a week, Michael.
He might be on my live stream on Sunday, so we'll see what happens.
Watch this space.
Watch this
Thanks
space.
for watching. Take care.